everyone, it's CL. I know it's been quite some time, and I do have a good reason for my absence. Is because I am essentially starting life over and rebuilding from the ground up. I actually left New York very recently and moved back to California, and I'm actually in my childhood home. This room that I'm in right now is the room that I grew up in when I was little, so it was really cool kind of showing Elle. This was my old room. This was my old house. The only thing that's different is like the furniture is different, the blankets are different, that sort of small things are different, but everything else, it brought back a lot of memories of when I grew up, so it was kind of nice. And one of the benefits of moving back to California is definitely my dad's dogs. We've gone without pets for a very long time, and my daughter is absolutely over the moon that there's dogs. My dad has dogs. He has 2 dogs, and they're so friendly and loving, and we're actually dog sitting my nephew's dogs. So if you can see this lump of fur off to my bottom right, this is one of my nephew's dogs that we're dog sitting. He's so cute. He's so cute. He's a little bit annoying, but he's really cute. And one of the other dogs is in the room. So we're babysitting 2 dogs. But the main reason why I wanted to make today's video is kind of just to talk through being brave enough to start over. I think for myself, there are a lot of times, especially recently, where I sit back and I think to myself, wow, I should be really sad. I should be really sad that the life that I imagined didn't come to fruition. And surprisingly, I feel okay. Like there's a part of me that is telling me that everything will be fine. And I haven't felt that way in a long time. But if you were to like be someone looking in from the outside, you'd be like, how are you okay? Doesn't seem like you're okay. You seem like you're in a worse off position than when you started. And that's what I kind of want to bring up, is just being brave enough to start over. When you start over, you don't have anything. But being brave enough to know that you're going to rebuild your life into a more positive life. So as far as myself, I recently left New York to come back to California because I was exiting a very long-term relationship. My instincts were screaming at me that I needed to get out of this non-healthy environment, because if I stayed, I would regret it in the future. Now, it's one thing to be by myself. It's one thing to just be responsible for myself and be like, oh, it's no big deal. But I am not by myself. I also have a daughter who's growing up and who's very observant, and all the experiences I go through, she goes through as well. So I made the very tough decision to exit that relationship, move back to California, and on top of that very hard decision, I got laid off at the same time. I got laid off from a company that I've been with for over a decade. So when I flew to California, I only flew with a suitcase for myself, a suitcase for Elle. We had shipped a few boxes from the post office of like sentimental things that we wanted to keep, but more or less I came to California with essentially nothing. I had just the clothes in my suitcase and my purse, and then I just left, you know. And on paper, and if you are someone on the outside looking in, you'd probably think like, how was that a good decision? You don't have anything, you're not financially secure. If you would have stayed in your relationship, you would be more financially well off. And it's just one of those things that you come to terms with for yourself. Everyone has their why. And the thing is that you don't need to convince anyone else why you did something. You know why you did something. You know what you've experienced and gone through. Yes, I did come here with nothing, and I do have to look for a new job, but at the same time, a person outside looking in, they would think like, oh, you don't seem like you're better off, but I know that I am. I am so much better and healthier as far as like my mentality and my outlook on life, and I just know instinctively, my instincts are telling me that I will be fine. Yes, I don't have anything right this moment, but the life that I'm going to build from the ground up going forward is going to be an even better life, if that makes sense at all. So the main thing is just being brave enough to believe in yourself, that you don't need another person to make you feel secure, to make you feel happy. You don't need another person to do those things for you. You are very capable of bringing happiness into your own life. And I think one of the big things when it comes to coming to terms with starting over is realizing that the life that you had planned for yourself, that life that you imagined, you have to let go of that. Like you just kind of have to think of life as a book. You got to rip out those pages of the book and just realize that that story of this picturesque life that you had imagined yourself being in is not your life. So you just have to just crumple those pages up and leave them behind, and just know that the chapter that you're starting on now is a chapter that you're fully in control of, and it can be even better than what you had planned out for yourself originally. And I guess the reason also why I want to make this video is because I think there's a lot of people out there who are afraid. They're afraid of being on their own. They're afraid of their own abilities, not being able to care for themselves. There's just a lot of fear there. Like, they're not happy in their lives. They know their situation isn't a good situation, and yet they stay because they're afraid to move on. They're afraid to let go of this life that they had imagined for themselves. And maybe they think in their minds that one day things will change. That used to also be me. I used to also sit back and just think like, well, that's just happening today. I would make a lot of excuses, and I would always tell myself, well, one day we'll be better off. One day we'll be happy. One day X, Y, and Z will stop. And came the day where I had to hit the brakes and just say, enough is enough. Now, I don't want you watching here thinking that it was just so easy for me to make this decision. It was not an easy decision to make. Like, I had lost lots and lots of sleep. Like, if you were to see what my life was over the past few months, it was completely hectic and crazy. It could totally bring you to the edge of just wanting to jump in front of a train, because it was horrible. But thankfully, through a lot of prayer, and I was able to find the strength to just go through the movements of packing my bags, of booking plane tickets, of asking someone to pick me up from the airport. So all those things I went through, I kind of did it as if I was a robot. I kind of just went through the motions, but I knew that I had to go through these steps. Not to sound cheesy, but it's finding strength in yourself to pick up the pieces of your shattered life and rebuild it, you know, get some glue, get some super glue and start rebuilding your life. For me, my life has turned into dust, and I kind of just dust all that away, and I'm just rebuilding from the ground up. Starting your life over is a very scary experience, but that's what I mean by being brave. Sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith in yourself to get yourself out of a bad situation, you know? So yeah, that's essentially what I wanted to talk about in this video. I know it's not like the cheeriest video that I'm posting here, but I just wanted to be honest and just let you know where I'm at in life, because when I do future vlogs, you know, you'll kind of know like why I'm back in California and why I'm looking for employment, that sort of thing. My whys, so you'll understand my whys. So yeah, so hopefully I can get this video up somewhat soon. The internet here is so bad. My dad has like internet from a company I've never even heard before, and it takes hours to upload anything to YouTube, and I'm not talking like 3 hours, I'm talking like 5 to 6 to 7 hours, and nobody can be using the internet during that time. So hopefully I can get this video up. So yeah, that is what I wanted to talk about in this video, and other than that, I will see you later.